roommate played a Ouija board in our apartment, and now we have a demon. This scary story time was submitted by one of my followers. She has changed the names in the story for privacy reasons because she said it was only a few years ago and the person probably still lives in that apartment. So in 2019, my follower and her best friend, who she has named Bob for this story, got an apartment together in Arizona. And she said that Bob went through a pretty rough breakup and it kind of messed with his mental state, especially because right around the time of his breakup is when the pandemic happened, and that really like put him down bad. And he started taking a lot of dates from Tinder and bringing them to their apartment, which she was like, it's probably just him trying to distract himself. But that was until he brought home this one specific girl who she's called Joy. So Joy was very different. My follower says that she's pretty sensitive to energies and like the paranormal and stuff. So when he brought Joy home, it triggered every instinct in her, like something is not right with this person. She describes Joy as being void, hollow. Like her eyes are very dark and shifty. She's very pale, and she actually described her as giving the energy of like a succubus. So she would look at my follower across the room almost like to intimidate her or scare her, and my follower would simply just look away and keep a blank face and remind herself not to let this thing scare her. But she said there was something very wrong with Joy. Joy was not good. She was basically described as, you could tell she was dark, evil energy. Because of the energy she felt from this person, Joy, she would time her exits to where she would not cross paths with Joy at all. So she, at this time, worked at an assisted living facility and she worked at home, but she worked at nights at the facility. So she came home from working one of her overnights one morning and it was ridiculously cold, like chill in their apartment. And she found that to be weird because it's Arizona and the summertime. And so she thought maybe something was wrong with the thermostat. So she goes and checks the thermostat. It's on 79, which, oh my God, I would literally friggin' pass out from heat. But I don't know what it's like there. She hears her roommate, Bob, snoring from his room, and everything is normal per se, but it's just like chillingly cold in a bad way in their apartment. She explains that due to her job at the assisted living facility, she knows what it feels like in a room after someone is no longer alive. And she said it was the same type of chill as if someone was in their apartment who was not alive anymore. And she said it was odd because when she got to her bedroom and she walked in there, it felt normal. She says that after that morning, things just continued to escalate. So she started feeling something watching her, and it would always be from the same corner of the ceiling. And then she said one evening she was watching TV and she could feel something behind her, as if something wanted to whisper in her ear. And when she would turn to look, there would be nothing there. She said that her instincts were always telling her, do not show fear, do not acknowledge it, just ignore it, right? But she said that it got a lot harder because things kept getting worse. So one night after the gym, she comes home and in the kitchen, all of the cabinets and drawers are just open. And she said she first was like, okay, that's just him being lazy, referring to her roommate. And she just closed everything, went to take a shower. She gets out of the shower, comes back to the kitchen, everything is open again. This time she gasped and like ignored her instincts of not reacting because she couldn't help it. I mean, she was freaked out because she just realized that he's not even home. So something else is opening all of those things in their kitchen and letting her know, like, yeah, I'm here and you cannot ignore me. Okay, for this next part, she gives a trigger warning if you are easily scared or you're watching this at night or something, because it gets pretty creepy. So she had always felt safe in her room because it seemed to not be able to be in there, right? Until this night. All of a sudden, it felt like her safe haven, like her boundary was breached. because she was going to bed and all of a sudden in her closet she hears her metal hangers start hitting each other as if like a gust of wind has went through. And at first she's like, okay, one of his cats are in my closet, right? So she goes to check and there's nothing in there. So she closes the door, she gets back in her bed, and as soon as the blankets cover her legs, she hears her craft box on a shelf in the closet start to scratch against the wood, the shelf, and she could hear the jingle bells inside like moving around as if something was moving the thing faster and faster and faster, trying to antagonize her. And at this point, she said she went from like scared to pissed off because now you're in my room, you're messing with my shit, and this is not okay. So she said she got up and she opened the door and she told it, get the fuck out, you're not welcome here. And everything stopped. All the movement, the noise stopped. So the next day she asked her roommate Bob, she's like, have you noticed anything weird going on? He admitted that he and Joy had been playing the Ouija board for the last few weeks, and since they're always high and drunk, he didn't remember if they had been closing it out properly. Which, you know, that's one of the very important rules if you're going to mess with a Ouija board, to close it properly, or else you allow anything to come inside, which is what happened. So he thinks this is just funny. He's like, yeah, it's I guess she like told him what happened, what had been happening. He's like, oh yeah, it's my little demon buddy. He's fine. He can hang around here. So not only did you not close the board properly, you're essentially giving this thing permission to terrorize your apartment where your roommate is being constantly antagonized by this thing. Great friend. But she said she also noticed how bad he was all of a sudden looking. She said he just looked sickly pale. His eyes were sunken in and like hollow. He just looked like shit. Like something was sucking the life out of him or the energy out of him. And she obviously is thinking like, this is Joy. And if you know anything about a succubus, that's actually exactly what they do to people. At this point, she goes to her friend's mom, who is a spiritual practitioner, and tells her what's been going on. And basically the mom was like, whatever was feeding on, whatever he brought in has shifted to you from him because his energy is depleting. Like he's running out of energy to, to give. So now it's trying to shift to you. So she recommends her some supplies for cleansing like sage and candles and Florida water, which I stand by Florida water, amongst other things. She does that. She cleanses the apartment, and she said this was a big mistake because all of a sudden his demeanor completely changed. He was angry all the time, snapping on her, snapping on his friends on Discord, snapping on anyone who came to the apartment, just constantly lashing out. And she told her friend's mom about it, and she said it's probably because this thing knows that you're trying to get rid of it and it's retaliating. And she told her that you are probably going to need to cleanse the place several times, which, if in my opinion, just based on my experience with this stuff, the person needs to be cleansed, not just the space. So my follower had one last bad experience with Bob, and it was that he cornered her in the kitchen one time over the tone of something she said, and she said this was it for me. I had had enough. I packed my stuff that night and I moved out, and I'm so happy that I did. She said that she still hears through mutual friends about him and that he's not doing well. People blame it on his original breakup, but she says that she truly believes that it was something to do with the Joy person that he brought, and I honestly agree with that. I think that's exactly what happened. And she said that she's just so happy that she got away from that place, and that she feels like she sounds unhinged telling these details, but I disagree. I've dealt with things like this before. I completely believe every word you said. And yeah, that's terrifying.
Scary story time. እንደናፈኳችሁ አውቃለሁ። እናንተ ግን ቲክቶክ ክሬቲቭ አዋርድ ላይ አልመረጣችሁኝም። ቆይ ከዚህ በላይ ምን ኢንተርቴይንመንት አለ? እኔ ኢንተርቴይን እንደማረጋችሁ በደንብ እርግጠኛ ነኝ። ያ ትንሽ ባስፈራራችሁ ማለት ነው። ኤኒዌይስ ልጅ እያላችሁ ተሰሙት የነበረው ይሄ የሰይጣን ስልክ ቁጥር የሚባለው ነገር እውነት ነው። ይሄንን ታሪክ ዲኤምኤ ላይ 2 3 4 ሰዎች ነግረውኛል። ትምህርት ቤት እያሉ ያጋጠማቸውን ማለት ነው። በእርግጥ እኔ በዛ ስልክ ቁጥር ደውዬ አላውቅም፣ ግን እኔ የምማርበት ትምህርት ቤትም የደወለች ልጅ ነበረችና በትክክል ስልኩ ጠርቶ አናግራው ነበር። ያው ያናገረችው ስፒሪት የትኛው እንደሆነ ማስተውስ ባልችልም ግን በጣም ክፉና መጥፎ ነበር። ሶ አሁን ይህን ታሪክ ያጋራኝ ልጅ ምን አለኝ? በግሩፕ የሆኑና ያንን የሰይጣን ስልክ ቁጥር የሚባለውን ስልክ ቁጥር በየቤታቸው ለመሞከር ይወስናሉ። ሶ ትምህርት ቤት ውስጥ ነው፣ ምሳ ሰዓት ላይ ወጥተው እያወሩ ነው ይሄንን ውሳኔ ወሰኑት ማለት ነው። ታዲያ ሁሉም ገብተው በዛ ስልክ ቁጥር ይደውላሉ። ከዛ አንዷ ልጅ በነጋታው ትመጣና ስልኩን ደውላ እንዳነሳና እንዳወራ ትነግራቸዋለች ማለት ነው። ሶ 5ኛ ክፍል ተማሪዎች ናቸው አይ ቲንክ እንዳለኝ ከሆነና በጣም ያን የሚያስጨንቃቸው ነገር የነበረው የ8ኛ ክፍል ሚኒስትሪ ፈተና ነበር። ሶ የጠየቀችው ምንድነው ስሟን ምናምን ከነገረችው በኋላ 8ኛ ክፍል ሚኒስትሪ አልፋለሁ ወይ ብላ ነው የጠየቀችውና ምን ይላታል? በሚገባ ታልፊያለሽ ይላታል። ሶ ይሄን መታ በነጋታው ለጓደኞቿ ትነግራቸዋለች። ከዛም የዚህኛው ልጅ ታሪክ ሲሰሙ ይደፋፈሩና የዛኑ ቀን ማታ ከዛ ግሩፕ መሀል ያለችው አንዷ ልጅ ደግሞ ይሄንን ልትሞክር ተወስናለች ማለት ነው። ሶ እቺ ልጅ በነጋታው ትምህርት ቤት ስትመጣ ፊቷ ቀልቶ ገርጥታ እና ይሄ የጥፊ ሰንበር ፊቷ ላይ ወጥቶ ነው የመጣችው። ሶ ታሪኩን ያጫወተ ልጅ ምን እንደሆነች ይጠይቃታል ማለት ነው። ምሳ ሰዓት ላይ ጠብቆ ምን እንደሆነች ይጠይቃታል። ሶ ምን ትለዋለች? ደውላ ነበረ። ደውላ ስሟን ሲጠይቃት ስሟን የተሳሳተ ስም ትነግረዋለች ማለት ነው። ከዛ በኋላ ወደ ኋላ ዙሪያ እንደላትና አንድ ስትዞር በጥፊ እንዳላትና በጥፊ እንዳላት ምን እንደሆነ ምንም እንደማታውቅ ብቻ ግን ፊቷ ላይ ሰንበሩ እንደወጣ ትነግረዋለች ማለት ነው። ሶ በጣም ይደነግጣል። ግን እሱም ላይክ የሆነ ቀን ላይ ቆይቶ ለመሞከር ይወስንና የአባቱን ስልክ አንስቶ ያንን ቁጥር ላይ ይደውላል ማለት ነው። ሲደውል ቁጥሩ ጠራ። ሲጠራ ግን ቶሎ ብሎ አስቀምጦት ከዛ አካባቢ ሮጦ ይጠፋል፣ ይሄዳል ማለት ነው። ሶ አሁን ትልቅ ልጅ ነው ኦልሬዲ፣ ግን ይሄ ነገር ጭንቅላቱ ላይ ተቀርጾ እንደቀረ ነው። አይ ሚን ኢትስ ናት ኦንሊ ላይክ በእርግጠኝነት ብዙ ትምህርት ቤት ውስጥ የሰይጣን ቁጥር የሚባለው ቁጥር ተወርቶ ያውቃል። ስንቱ ሰው እንደሞከረው አላውቅም፣ ደፍሬ ሞክሬ አላውቅም እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር፣ ግን የሞከሩ ሰዎች እንዳሉ በደንብ አውቃለሁ። በዚህ አጋጣሚ መስታወት የምትሸጡ ሰዎች ካላችሁ፣ በዲዛይን መስታወቶችን እየሰራችሁ የምትሸጡ ሰዎች ካላችሁ ከኔ ጋር ኮላብ ማድረግ የምትፈልጉ፣ እኔ መስታወቶች ስለሚያስፈልጉኝ ዲኤም አድርጉልኝና እናወራለን። እኔ ምርጥ የሆነ ፕሮሞሽን እሰራላችኋለሁ። ሶ ጀስት ቴክስት ሚ ኦኬ። አልጠፋባችሁም። እንዳልጠፋባችሁ ግን ቪዲዮቼ ሪፖስት አድርጉ፣ ቫይራል አውጡት። ወዳችኋለሁ።
Should we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Okay, scary story time. Here's a story about the time I'm almost positive, willing to put my life on it, that I come in contact with a skinwalker. Now, at the time that this happened, I did not know what a skinwalker was. I had no clue. I only found that out years later on TikTok. And I have the receipt for this story as well because I put it on my Facebook at the time. But this is what happened. So let me set the scene for you. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the interstate headed to work, and it looks like the beginnings of a horror movie. On the side of the interstate in Tennessee, it's all like wooded area. It's really thick. You cannot see through it. And because we get so much moisture here and rain, it's like foggy and it's dark. So I'm driving in the slow lane with my windows down. It's the only reason why I heard it. But I heard like a hurt animal screech. And I was like, and this is when I rescued cats. So I stopped on the shoulder of the interstate and back up to where I heard the sound, because it was like a really high pitched, like animal in a trap type scream. I'm reversing back to where I heard the sound, and I hear it, and I realize it's not an animal, it's a woman. And she is screaming like I'll never get the sound out of my head as long as I live. Like, it still makes my skin crawl. Like, the way she was screaming is like she's being tortured. Like, it was such a high pitched, like, and it was so panicked. It was like, oh my God, help! And like, it was really bad. Like, it was almost just a reaction to cover my ears. Like, it was just, it was a really bad scream. I've never heard anything like this ever in my life. You could not think through the sound. Like, your humanity just leaks through. Like, you just have to help them. Like, somebody's in that much pain and they're that panicked. You don't have time to think. My adrenaline's pumping. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm like freaking out. I don't know where the sound is coming from. All I know is she's in this wooded area close to the road, and she's being hurt by something or someone. Now, I don't have any weapons or anything, but just her scream, like you cannot not help somebody when they're screaming like that. So I get out of my car and I'm standing in my headlights because it's dark. I can't see anything. And I can just hear that she's somewhere really close close to the interstates in these woods, but it's thick enough where I can't see her, but I can hear that she's close. But my survival instinct will not allow me to take any steps out of this light because I don't even know where I'm going. She's in this wooded area, but she's close enough where she can see, because I'm standing in my headlights, she can see me, but I can't see her. So I just scream out, like, where are you at? And then she's like screaming, help me, help me. I'm over here. The contrast between the way she was screaming a half a second ago and then the calm manner of her just, I'm over here, it sent chills from, the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. Like, I felt every nerve in my body, just awaken. I knew that was not okay. That was not normal for somebody to be that in that much pain, screaming in such a way, and then they're just talking fine. I'm over here. But she yelled it. I'm over here. But that was it. There was no panic to her voice. It was a calm manner in which she was talking now. And that froze me even more. Now I really couldn't walk out of my headlights. But now I was even too scared to walk back to the car, to get in. I was just frozen, trying to process, what the fuck is going on. I'm just standing there what do I do now? Is she really hurt? But that scream, you could not duplicate it in the worst scenario possible. It was just, I was just stunned. And it's because it's so quiet now. There's only cars passing me, and I'm just standing there what do I do? Do I continue to try and help her? Is she okay now? I don't know. I don't even have time to think when she yells to me, are you coming? And I'm just what is going on? Lady, are you dying or are you good? And before, it's probably 2 seconds after she says, are you coming? She starts in with the screaming again. And it's not only screaming, she's crying, help me, please. It is, I can't stress this enough, what the screaming and crying and shouting sounded like. The sound of her screaming again almost made my knees buckle. I almost felt I had to catch myself. I'm what do I do? But I'm beyond freaked out. So finally, I take one step back towards where my door is, because I don't know what's going on and I'm really scared right now. And the screaming is still going on. Help me, please! Shh! Somebody shushed. And then it took me a second, she shushed herself. She's screaming bloody murder, blood-curdling scream, and then shushes herself to be quiet. And I'm nauseous at this point. I'm so scared, and I'm feeling sick. I'm lightheaded from the scream. It's a stomach churning sound that's going on. And then she shushes herself, and it's quiet. But I'm worried about my safety now. I'm in survival mode. I get back in my car, and I never turn the car off. So I just put it in drive to haul ass when I hear the most sinister laugh ever. She's laughing at me. So now I know for a fact that she was watching me the entire time. I'm standing in my headlights, stopping for her, everything. She could see me. I couldn't see her because it was so dark. But now she is laughing, and it is the most evil laugh ever. The whole way back to work, I was so scared that somebody was in my back seat or going to get me, or I was just such on edge. When I got to work, I almost went home. I was so shaken up. I didn't know what to do. I was should I call the cop? I ended up calling the cops. I didn't know what to do. I was is this somebody that's sick? With mental health issues that's going on, and they're stuck somewhere? Is she really hurt? I'm second guessing myself because I don't even believe what just happened to me. And then I remember I have a lot of family and friends that drive on the interstate on their way to work. And then I'm I need to tell people, to warn them. If that is somebody that's nuts or something else entirely, regardless of what it is, people need to be warned. Do not stop on the side of the interstate if you hear a lady screaming. And here's the screenshot. You can clearly see that happened in December 2019. Here's the part 2. So, moral of the story, if you ever hear somebody screaming bloody murder, needs your help, just stay calm and try and think through the fear, because I don't know what would have happened to me had I walked in the woods to try and save this lady. Years later, when I got on TikTok, my cousin sent me a TikTok of talking about a skinwalker, what a skinwalker was. When I first heard the term, I thought it was like an alien or something. She was like, that's what you come in contact with that morning, was a skinwalker. And I was like, oh shit, like, was it? Or like, was it just somebody with mental health issues that was like off their fucking rocker? Like, I don't know, but I'm just glad that I did not go into those woods.
I almost got possessed. I'm gonna tell you about it while I take this off. So if you don't know already, I'm a professional ghost hunter. Me and my partner were ghost hunting at this haunted hotel. Well, it was a motel. Let's start at the beginning. So the reason this motel is haunted is there were 4 murders there since 2021, which is kind of a lot. There's also been like a ton of carjackings, and the city wants to shut this whole place down. Actually went as far as saying it's a public nuisance. And some of these murders are unsolved, so we went down to find out why. Now, if you know anything about ghost hunting, you might be familiar with the Estes method. If you're not, I'll just tell you really quick. Basically, the Estes method is where you listen to a radio with soundproof headphones on and the other person asks you questions. You can't hear anything they're saying. The radio flips through stations and you just say whatever you hear out loud. It's said that spirits can manipulate the radio to talk to you. So I was under the Estes method at this hotel, and my partner was asking questions. So we actually believe we were talking to one of the spirits of someone who died there. We found something horrifying under the mattress. I can't post the picture here, but you can find it on my YouTube. Anyways, I was under the Estes method, and then we heard a knock at the door, but I didn't hear anything because I was under the Estes method. So I had soundproof headphones on and I didn't know this was happening. I started hearing a very scary voice just angrily saying, "Let me in." And then immediately after, the voice of the spirit we were originally talking to told us to not let them in. But then they started getting super aggressive and they were pounding on the door. All of a sudden, I start feeling like I'm floating. Like, basically, I'm feeling like my head is no longer attached to my body, but I can still feel my feet, but I'm floating. Honestly, such a weird feeling to explain, but it gets scarier. Every single time this thing is yelling, "Let me in," the other spirit is saying, "Don't, don't, don't." Then I started to feel like I couldn't feel my feet, which is a scary feeling when you're talking to ghosts. I took the headphones off and came out of the Estes method just in time. Because all of the people that watched that video...
Hello, Ate Bebs. Gusto ko lang i-share ang kwento sa ninang ng pumanaw kong kapatid. Hello. Sa shoe capital of the Philippines, naganap ang lahat. Marikina. Di ba yun ang shoe capital of the Philippines? Doon nakatira ang ninang ng kapatid ko, dating kasamahan sa Catholic Church group ng parents ko. Naging choir leader pa nga siya. Noon, hindi alam ng lahat ang tunay niyang kakayahan na kaya niyang mangkulam at kumausap ng mga pumanaw. At ang nakakatakot pa dito, kapag nahawakan ka niya, kaya niyang malaman ang deepest, darkest secret mo at marami pang iba. Nag-umpisa ang usap-usapan nang mabuntis siya ng isang miyembro ng Catholic group nila mama at papa. Ang lalaking ito ay may asawa na at hindi alam ng ninang ng kapatid ko na kabit pala siya. Ang tunay na asawa ng lalaki ay nabuntis rin. Ngunit bilang nakunan, kahit maayos ang pagbubuntis, ngunit biglang nakunan kahit maayos ang pagbubuntis. At nagtaka ang OB-GYN dahil noong last check-up niya ay healthy naman ang bata. Marami nagsabi, baka nakulam. Ilang taon matapos iyon, hindi na bumalik si ninang sa church group nila mama. Pero naging aktibo na lang siya sa choir. Dumating ang bagong head priest sa simbahan. Isa siya sa mga legit na exorcism priest. Sa unang pagkikita nila, biglang nag-iba daw ang kilos at attitude ng ninang ng kapatid ko. Lagi tong irritable at tila ba ay galit kay father. Nagkataon na may malaking event sa simbahan. Bilang choir leader, kailangan niyang makipag-usap kay father. Sa araw ng meeting nila, pinahawak ni father ng krus ang ninang ng kapatid ko. Napasigaw siya. Parang napaso. Doon nagsimulang matuklasan ni Father na may bumabalot sa kanya na kadiliman. Fast forward, isinagawa ang isang exorcism. Kasama sa mga prayer warriors ang mga magulang ko at iba pang kasamahan nila sa simbahan. Habang nagdadasal, nanginginig ang mga pintuan ng simbahan. Nagiinit at biglang lalamig ang hangin. Biglang nag-iba ang boses ni Ninang. Nagiging lalaki. At iba ang lakas niya. Sabi nila mama, kaya niyang itulak ang 6 na lalaking humahawak sa kanya. Parang nasa isang horror movie daw sila. Hindi makapaniwala ang parents ko dahil first time nila maka-experience ng ganito. May nangyari pa. Hinawakan siya ng isang kasamahan sa simbahan. Biglang tumingin ang ninang ng kapatid ko na may paglilisik ang mata at sinabihan siya ng, "Sige, subukan mo silang tulungan. Alam ko ang nililihim mo sa asawa mo." Sabay tawa na parang demonyo. Lalo pang nakakatakot nang humaba ang dila niya. Tila ahas na lumalagpas sa kanyang baba. Bukod pa rito, may dinuduwal siya mula sa kanyang bibig. May mga tila inaalis mula sa katawan niya na hindi nakikita ng mga prayer warriors. Nang tanungin siya ng pare kung ano ang nasa loob niya, sunod-sunod na pangalan ng mga demonyo ang binanggit niya. At sa huli, sinabi niya ang pangalan ni Lucifer. Ayon sa kanya, ito ang gabay niya mula pagkabata. Matapos ang higit 3 oras, bumagsak si Ninang. Wala siyang maalala. Doon niya binunyag na minana niya mula sa kanyang lola ang isang itim na bato at isang itim na libro, pinagmulan ng kanyang kakayahan. Inutusan siya ng pari na dalhin ang libro sa simbahan at doon nila ito sinunog. Umamin din siya. Siya ang dahilan kung bakit nakunan ang tunay na asawa ng lalaking nakarelasyon niya noon. At pati aksidente ng tito ko, gawa rin niya. Dahil dati ay inasar siya nito at hindi niya ito nagustuhan. Naging okay naman ang tito ko. Pagkatapos niya mag-sorry, bigla na lang gumaling ang pilay niya. Marami rin ang lumalapit sa kanya noon. Nagpapatulong mangkulam sa mga kaaway at malaman kung may kabit ba ang asawa nila. Pero sabi niya, kada gagawin niya ito para bang nilalamon siya ng itim na usok. Ngayon, nagsisilbi pa rin siya sa simbahan. Sabi ni Father na palayas niya ang mga demonyo. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na tuluyan na silang nawala. May kakayahan pa rin siya. Ngunit mahigpit nang ipinagbabawal na gamitin ito. Dahil kapag muli niyang binuksan ang daan, baka bumalik ulit ang mga anino ng kanyang nakaraan. Hanggang dito na lang po muna Ate Bebs. May kasunod pa ito na ako naman ang naka-experience after mamatay ng kapatid ko na inaanak niya. Next time, isusulat ko ito. P.S. Ang buhay ng ninang ng kapatid ko ay na-feature na sa isang show sa ABS-CBN. Nasa YouTube.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Spooky story time. A follower that wants to remain anonymous sent me this story and we're going to call it What Happened to My Grandma. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Cleo. Cleo was about 10 years old. She would go to church with her grandma and her mom, and they had been going to this church for about a year. For about a week, Cleo's mom and grandma had been arguing and fighting like cats and dogs, and Cleo says that her mom's childhood and upbringing was a little rough, so that was just the way that they got along. Cleo says that on a Sunday, her and her mom showed up to the church by themselves, and then her grandma ended up going to the church about an hour later. She did sit in the back by herself, and Cleo says that after the service, a sister came up to her and her mom and said, "Hey, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? Because I'm feeling some very weird vibes coming from your mom," which is Cleo's grandma. Cleo's mom starts telling the sister what had been going on, that they had been arguing, and they literally just go about their day, enjoy the rest of their Sunday. They ended up getting home kind of late. Cleo was in her bedroom with the door open. Cleo's mom was in the restroom on her phone, and Cleo's grandma was in her own room with the door open as well.
Cleo says that she can hear the dog barking and barking and barking, and she's like, so she kind of sits up, looks across, and she sees a pair of scissors being thrown at the dog. And the dog literally runs into Cleo's room, so scared, and after the dog comes in Cleo's grandma. Cleo says that her grandma's eyes were literally all white. Like, there was no color there, everything was white. Her teeth looked so huge and long. And she says that her grandma was laughing the most evil, ugliest, most disgusting laugh she's ever heard. Naturally, Cleo's only 10 years old. She's freaking out. So she's like, Grandma, like, what are you doing? What's going on? Grandma's just standing there laughing, like, maniacally. So then she calls for her mom. Her mom was already mad at Grandma. So she comes out like, what are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you? You're scaring her. Grandma walks out, looks at her daughter, like, goes into her bedroom and slams the door. They had also closed their own bedroom door. So because Cleo is scared, she's like, I want to call Dad and I want to go with Dad tonight because I can't. Mom says, okay. So they open the door and the whole house is pitch black. And there is loud banging coming from the kitchen that sounds like just over and over. Cleo freaks out, runs back into the room and covers herself, and Mom comes in too. They close the door and they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Well, we have to get out. So they have to walk through the house, through the living room to get to the front door. Grandma is now sitting on the couch and she's just rocking back and forth, holding something sharp and doing that ugly, nasty laugh. Cleo's mom is holding her like back here, like, okay, let's kind of try to make the great escape. And Grandma starts telling Cleo's mom, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna hurt you, over and over. On the way to drop Cleo off at her dad's, Cleo's mom calls the pastor and the pastor ends up meeting them back at the house. Well, Dad wants to know what is going on, who's gonna hurt my daughter, so he ends up going back to the house too with Cleo in the car. They end up pulling up to Cleo's grandma's house and there is police there and there was a rope hanging from a tree, so you can just imagine what was gonna happen. And Cleo says that her mom said that as soon as Grandma saw the policeman lights, she got down from the tree and she ran back inside the house. The cops open the door and Grandma is just standing in the middle of the living room, laughing loud, ugly, nasty, and the police end up putting her in handcuffs. They end up taking her to the university, into the mental hospital, where she stays there for about a month. Cleo says that when she was released, she was perfectly fine. She was normal, like nothing happened. They end up questioning her like, hey, what was wrong with you that day? And Cleo says that Grandma was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember anything. What do you guys think? Do you think it was the house? Do you think it was her? Do you think she was possessed? Like, was it a mental thing? Let me know what y'all think. Thank you so much to Cleo for sending me this story. If y'all have any stories that you'd like for me to read, go ahead and send them via DM or email, and I'd love to read them, and I will see you guys in the next spooky story.